Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Friday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing well out there, having a great start to your day, a great ending to your week, beginning to your weekend, whatever it may be. I got you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for your Friday. Not expecting as active of a day today compared to yesterday, but we do have some things to talk about, kind of driven by the same features that were driving all the weather yesterday, if you will. So we'll talk about that in this video. A lot of heavy rain across areas of the Midwest, the upper Midwest, moving into the Great Lakes region. Another system moving into the Pacific Northwest does not look to be significant, but we'll speak briefly on that. And then we still got energy down here in the Southeast that we'll speak on. Then at the very end of the video, we'll give you an update on the tropics, some good information, as there's no threats, but there is an area of interest that I wouldn't say is a big-time concern right now, but could develop into a concern here in the future. So our folks that live in the Caribbean, maybe you need to watch out for this one. Now, the further you get west into the Caribbean, I would say the chances drop off significantly that this will impact you guys. But if you live in the Lesser Antilles, especially maybe even the Puerto Rico region, you guys might want to pay attention to this. Next name is Tammy. We still got Sean out there just kind of drifting around, very weak tropical storm. But we'll give you an update on this. Nothing to be concerned of right now. But of course, if a concern really develops, we'll get more and more detailed in the videos to come here in the future. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Thank y'all for understanding not pumping out quite as much content this week. I've not made many videos in the evenings. It's been very nice. I've really just taken a break from how active it was in September. The slow start has definitely been there for October just because the weather is not doing anything too crazy out there. But, you know, just kind of taking it easy, enjoying the process. And I know there's some active times ahead especially for my folks in the Southeast and the Eastern U.S. I got a feeling it's going to get pretty active this winter. So I'll leave it at that. If you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's talk about the features out there, just like we always do on Water Vapor Loop. And then we'll move on. But we still got this low right here. This is kind of trapped. It's just moving. It's barely moving. It technically is moving, but this is not a low pressure. It's just moving through really fast. It's just kind of trapped over here across the Midwest. So this is bringing a lot of rain. This will bring an opportunity for more severe weather in areas of Iowa today. We'll watch for this, and then maybe even to areas of extreme northern and northeast Missouri, and then northwest Illinois. A little bit later today, we'll watch for some severe weather. And then we still got energy just kind of bubbling up down here across Florida. And we will actually watch the return for more light rain across Georgia. In fact, we're already seeing it a little bit this morning. And then eventually even into South Carolina, where I think by the time we get into this evening, we could be dealing with some light rain across areas of South Carolina, Georgia, for any kind of Friday night light activity or any kind of Friday night evening activities just in general. Could be dealing with some light rain out there. And then we're watching this approaching cold front that really gets going later on today into tomorrow, where this cold front will just sweep across the entire central and eastern U.S. and then bring much drier and cooler temperatures with it. So that's what's going on out there this morning. You know, nothing too crazy this morning, and I really don't think this afternoon will be near as active as yesterday afternoon, evening was. Luckily, I didn't see or hear about any crazy reports or of any kind of, I guess, devastating severe weather or anything like that. I did see some reports of some tornadoes. Certainly, there was areas of Florida that saw damage. Didn't see anything about loss of life or anything like that, so that's the most important thing of all. So that's the good news. But we got a big system right over the northern portion of the country. You can see the swirl right here in this region where the low pressure is, and then all the rain associated with it. So we got a lot of rain falling in portions of Minnesota, waking up to very soggy conditions in like Minneapolis, a lot of rain falling, and eastern areas of South Dakota. You guys gotta let me know if there's anybody viewing from western Nebraska or even Wyoming. Let me know how much snow you saw overnight. If you really saw any, you might not have saw much at all. But definitely let me know what you guys saw. I'm very interested with that. The actual low right here over portions of Nebraska. And this is bringing some rain. And then we got rain moving all the way into Wisconsin, where most of the state's seeing at least a little bit of rain this morning. A little bit of rain, heavy rain actually, here in central sections of Missouri, and then a little bit of drizzle falling in Georgia, low country of South Carolina, heavier storms down here in the southern tip of Florida. And then we're dealing with some rain kind of moving into the Caribou region back from New Brunswick. So that's what's going on right now. Storm Prediction Center, a marginal risk across areas of the northern Mississippi Valley, Peoria. This includes Springfield, Illinois, Jefferson, includes Jefferson, Missouri, up to Des Moines, Iowa, and just a level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather. Nothing too crazy, but we do have a risk of strong to severe storms in this region today, and just some general risk regions here in the light green. Tornado risk, there is a 2% risk of a tornado. And kind of the same thing will develop in this region, what we saw in Nebraska yesterday, just south of the actual low pressure that flies through. So move through during a favorable time of the day for severe weather, kind of the heating of the day, if you will. So we will have a 2% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in a given location in the Des Moines region, points north and eastward and southeastward. So wind, just a 5% risk. Hail, 5% risk. Nothing too crazy with that. Excessive rainfall outlook, I did pull it up. I thought in my head that I forgot to pull up how much rain could fall up here, but I did. So there is a slight risk of excessive flood guidance being exceeded into this region. That means there's a 15% risk of flash flood guidance being met in this yellow area, and the 5% risk in the green area right into here. And we look at the watches and warnings. High wind warnings still up. We got wind advisories. We got dense fog advisories over here in North Carolina. We got freeze watches in eastern areas of Colorado. Still have the ongoing winter storm warnings in areas of Wyoming. And that's pretty much what's going on as far as watches and warning. All right, so as far as what's going on in the southeast today, we're going to be dealing with a lot of drizzle in Georgia, portions of maybe northern Florida. We keep this going. I mean, just some kind of splotchy light rain. We're getting into this afternoon. You see the green right in here, just some drizzle, light rain, maybe even some mist in some of these areas. This could drift all the way into the Midlands of South Carolina. Down here in South Florida, South Central Florida, we could deal with some more in the form of downpours, maybe even some storms down here. But, I think it's going to be a very kind of dreary day. Another one, just not as heavy as rainfall as we saw yesterday across portions of Georgia, South Carolina. I think this mist or light rain will move all the way up into Atlanta, maybe even the Greenville-Spartanburg area, Charlotte later on this evening. So if you're out and about on the town doing something tonight, I definitely think it'll be just kind of a damp evening where you'll just be dealing with on and off showers and drizzle for anything you got going on. This is around 8 to 9 p.m. Tonight. We keep this going, and this will last all the way until we wake up tomorrow morning, and this will make it all the way into the southern sections of Virginia. And some of these pockets of rain could be heavy, especially down here along the coastal regions of South Carolina. But, I've had a lot of questions asking me about this Saturday, tomorrow, and if it's going to be a washout or how much rain is going to fall. I really think that if you live in most of the southeast, I think this will be mainly for the morning hours. But you live more so like up in the mid-Atlantic, Virginia, eastern North Carolina. Now, you might be dealing with rain throughout the morning and the afternoon as the low really begins to strengthen again and more rainfall in response because of it. So we'll have to watch for a heavy rainfall maker into the Delmarva region, eastern Virginia, eastern North Carolina tomorrow. The Northeast today, not a whole lot going on. Some showers could wrap into northern Maine, northern New Hampshire, and Vermont. Maybe the extreme northern sections of New York State. And then a big plume of moisture begins to make its way in from the west. This begins to take over. It's the wee hours of the morning, tomorrow morning across Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia. Some little heavy spouts of rain begins to move in. This could be more in the form of some storms down here in southern Ohio. Nothing too crazy or severe, but we could have some areas of more heavy rain, maybe some rumbles of thunder. This is more so just rain in areas of central and western PA. This is moving into the southern tier of New York State, the Finger Lakes region. As we're waking up for tomorrow morning, some light rain will be greeting you guys. But a little bit further south where you just have more just thermodynamics and just ingredients for storms, more storm action that you're waking up to tomorrow morning, maybe in eastern areas of Ohio, northern sections and western sections of West Virginia. And then these two pieces of energy will meet and will create a rainy start at minimum to your weekend for the Northeast, unfortunately. So, the South Central U.S., not a whole lot going on. You don't have enough forcing for any storms down here south of this low pressure up here in Iowa, but you could have some light rain across Arkansas, some light rain across southern Missouri. We will have the chance for some storms that could sweep through around midday in areas of St. Louis. And of course, we've already talked a little bit about Illinois. We'll talk about you guys again here in a second. Outside of that, guys, I mean, not a whole lot going on. Some showers are possible later on tonight along the coastal regions of Texas. Pretty quiet, though. Not a whole lot going on down here in this area of the country. But North Central U.S., I would argue, is the most active. Just a big shield of rain that's already taken over the southern half of Minnesota, areas of eastern South Dakota. The rain will do nothing but increase in coverage and kind of just stay over the same regions in Wisconsin. A lot of heavy rain is going to fall in western sections of Illinois, northern Illinois. This will move into Chicago area later today. And we could get an area of storms that does develop into eastern Illinois, moves into western Indiana, but I think they lose some steam. But regardless, Indianapolis, if you got anything going on tonight, this evening, I think you'll be dealing with some heavy rain out there. Rain begins to take over most of the state of Indiana by the time we get into this evening. And then maybe some storms, more storms might work into western Illinois later today with this associated low pressure. And then we're waking up tomorrow morning with just more rain in Chicago, rain even into southern areas of Michigan as this low pressure finally starts to pick up some forward speed and moves on into the northeast. Closer look at how much rain could fall. A lot. I mean, there's already been a lot of rain in Minneapolis this morning, even more. But by the time we're all said and done, maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain in Minneapolis. And then, I mean, I would say 2/3 of Wisconsin sees 1 to 2 inches of rain. A lot of rain could fall in Milwaukee, Janesville, up here to central Wisconsin, the northern half of Illinois. I mean, 1 to 2 inches of rain. Same thing with the eastern sections of Iowa, extreme northeast areas of Missouri. Could see same thing, an inch and a quarter of rain. And some rain begins to take over Michigan between now, especially tomorrow morning, as you guys could, pick up if you were to keep this going here between, the entirety of this system. I mean, some areas could get almost like a lake enhanced moisture right here off the western shores of Lake Michigan. Can't talk this morning. I almost said the western shores, but 2 to 3 inches of rain is possible. And then especially the western and southwestern corner of Michigan, 1 to 2 inches of rain. So good bit of rain, a soaker in areas of the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes region for sure over the next 24 to 36 hours. Closer look at these storms. This area of storms will move in later this morning, and then more will develop later this afternoon. This is where we need to watch out around Des Moines, points east and north, and even southeast. These storms right in here could produce a brief tornado, some gusty winds, small hail, and there's that little tail whip right here. So I would watch out with these storms. This is around 7 p.m. Iowa, Illinois time out here. And these are around where the storms could be. Watch out along, the Davenport, Quad Cities region. You guys want to, even all the way down to Peoria, be aware of these storms later on this afternoon, this evening, and then I think they will weaken eventually. Folks out west, quiet for the most of the day. Some leftover moisture in Wyoming could fall in the form of some snow, maybe even some rain. But here comes another system moving into the west coast of Washington, Oregon, and then northern sections of California. Not as heavy as rain with this, just more so some light to moderate rain will move in later this evening. So definitely kind of a rainy late evening for Seattle down to Portland, to Eugene, Medford, and to the far northwestern sections of California. A very weak system, not a big deal, but then another one will move in it's just one system after the other for the Pacific Northwest, just kind of entering a very rainy time of the year. Temperatures coolish in the northeast, 40s and 50s, 60s near the coast. Southeast, 70s and 80s in this pocket of air in the Ohio Valley. Kentucky, West Virginia. I mean, areas in West Virginia can hit 80 degrees a day. So, if you're a warm weather fan, certainly enjoy it. And if you're a cool weather fan, don't worry. Cold front is coming. Will cool us right back down. Pocket of cooler temperatures in areas of Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, even the panhandle of Florida, due to rain, some showers, and just cloud cover down here. But if you're not being affected by rain, you'll warm well into the 70s. Warm down here in southeast Texas, well into the 80s. Much cooler across areas of the high plains. I mean, much cooler. All right, only highs in the 30s, maybe the 40s. Much cooler temperature. Some areas will not get above freezing. I'll be interested to see how much snow you guys got in the Black Hills. I didn't wake up to really much video out of that region, so I'm not sure what fell in these regions. I would love to know. Maybe by the time I get on my phone this morning and kind of look at people's content from this region, maybe it'll tell a different story, but not seeing much. But just a cooler, below average day across most of the West, that's for sure. Update on the tropics. We got Sean still. Sean, I don't think it's going to do anything but a 45-mile-per-hour tropical storm, just kind of drifting around out there. It's really this area of interest right here. It's Invest 94L. Has a 60% chance to develop within the next 7 days. And this is one of those low riders, guys, that you typically see in late August, September. And here we are, I'm certainly in mid-October at this point. We're still seeing this. I thought for sure the main development region was shutting down, but it's saying a tropical depression could form by the middle of next week while it moves westward. So, yeah, we need to watch this one. And, you look at the satellite, that's Sean, and this is just a very disorganized tropical wave now. It looked better actually a day or so ago, but this is 94L, this just area of energy right over here. So this is what we will watch. If you look at some model guidance, this is it right here. We'll start off by looking at the Euro. Not much development. As you can tell, Sean just pretty much dwindles away. But we get into this weekend, we get into Sunday, we get into Monday morning, we get into Tuesday morning. We stop it here. It's October 17th, Tuesday morning. We're starting to get more of a defined low pressure right in here. We got a high pressure. See that H right over this. So this is forcing this to go more westward than anything. So this forces this to keep on chugging towards the Lesser Antilles, the Leeward Islands, and just basically everybody in the Lesser Antilles. So we get into the Wednesday morning time frame. This is beginning to strengthen. And then we get into the Thursday morning time frame. About 6 days from now, a lot could change. We got a tropical storm Tammy at this point based off this run of the Euro. And the good news is comparing this Euro to yesterday afternoon's Euro, it doesn't look near as strong, but if the European was to be correct, about 1 week from today, we'd be talking about a weak tropical storm heading towards the Lesser Antilles. I think this will take about a week to cross this entire area of the ocean, the tropical Atlantic. But we got to watch this because this will try to sneak into the Eastern Caribbean, an area that's been pretty quiet this year. So we'll watch this. Now we'll look at the GFS, same kind of deal. Here it is at the bottom of your screen, just a big plume of green. Now the GFS says, this is not going to develop. It does take some kind of piece of energy behind the kind of the main energy from 94L, but this doesn't look like this is the original energy. Long story short, the GFS does not latch on to this. Okay, here comes 94L right here on the icon. Icon does latch onto it. It only goes 120 hours out, but we go all the way out to about next Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, and we have a developing tropical storm Tammy right here in the middle of the tropical Atlantic. So it's something to watch, guys. Here's the European ensemble that goes 180 hours out, which is about a week out, and there is a pretty stout signal for something. And some of these members are strong, hurricane status. So if you're just in the Lesser Antilles, just in general, I'd keep an eye on this. You got plenty of time. We got plenty of time to figure this out. It's not about to sneak up on you here in a day or two. But this is something we want to watch. I know I didn't get very detailed on what's steering it, what's strengthening it, but I really want to see if models actually latch on and all come into agreement that something is going to get going before we get super detailed on something that's not really even there yet. So that's all I got. Y'all have a great start to your weekend. God bless all y'all. I may or may not have a video this evening. It just depends on what things look like throughout the day on the models. And yeah, that's all I got. God bless all y'all. I'll talk to you soon.